1990s were a golden age of sorts for space shoot-'em-up games. Gradius, Raiden, and all sorts of other titles filled both the arcade and console markets. One that stood out amongst the fray though was In the Hunt, which featured a submarine rather than a spaceship. It was developed by Irem and released in arcades in 1993. The thing that's so unique about In the Hunt is its multiple weapon gameplay. Your sub has two primary weapons, one which fires water-to-air weaponry to hit things above you, and one that fires straight ahead into the water. This forces the player to take enemies and projectiles that are coming from both the sky and water into account, and think on the fly. You can also drop bombs that are released from the submarine and sink downward, so there's actually 3 different methods to dispose of your adversaries. There are also multiple weapon types for both your frontal and vertical attacks. For frontal, there are red torpedoes that fire in a straight line, blue supersonic torpedoes that release a ripple effect in the water, and green cracker torpedoes that explode into scattered bombs. For vertical attacks, there are homing missiles that travel upward and track airborne enemies, and balloon mines that float to the surface of the water. There's lots of variety when it comes to the stages too. In the first, you plunge into the icy waters of the South Pole, where giant ships, bombs, and turrets impede you. In the next, you're in an area with a sunken city, where buildings sit on the ocean floor and helicopters fly overhead. Here you have to use some crafty maneuvers to evade rockets shooting upward that are just ready to destroy your sub. In another stage, you're diving deep into a cavern where you have to progress by going lower and lower. There's just so much variety in the levels, enemies, and obstacles, and absolutely nothing feels stale. There's 6 total levels, each of which are pretty long by shoot-'em-up standards. I do have to mention that In the Hunt is incredibly hard though. The number of fast-flying projectiles and enemy attacks are just crazy, and you'll never be good at this game straight away. This shouldn't be too much of a surprise though, given the standard of most shooters from that time. Also, I'd be doing you all a disservice if I didn't discuss the bosses. Man, the giant animated bosses of this game were so much more complex and different than anything else you would have seen in other shoot-'em-up games. For example, the orange boss in the first level flings these crazy chains at you, then shoots a big array of missiles. Another stage features twin mechanical contraptions that try to box your sub in while using weaponry of their own. The most nostalgic for me was the giant shackled colossus that can only be defeated by avoiding blocks that fall on his head. If you saw this back then, it was impossible to forget. The giant animated bosses were each a real treat to look at, and each was independently designed and made to be unique. For a game from 1993, the graphics are honestly fantastic, and the animations are some of the best of that era. Even enemy sprites are incredibly detailed, and the graphical approach works perfectly for the game's over-the-top style. Even the weapon effects and explosions are on point. If you've followed my channel for a while, you may notice that this game looks remarkably similar to Metal Slug, another series I've covered quite a bit. This is because it was developed by Metal Slug series creator Kazuma Kujo and his team that later became Nazca Corporation, the developers of the series. Some aspects of In the Hunt are so similar that you could easily confuse the game for Metal Slug, which really is a huge compliment if you ask me. In the Hunt was released for the Sony PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and PC, though I haven't played those versions so I can't really opine on them. Many years later, it was also released in the PlayStation Store for the PS4 and the Nintendo Store for the Switch, so there are easy ways to pick up and play it today. For a shoot-'em-up game, the creativity of In the Hunt was off the charts, and its unique art style both stood out and foreshadowed great things to come in Metal Slug. Unlike many shoot-'em-ups of that era, the game isn't plagued too bad by excruciating slowdown, which is also a big plus. It's a true hidden arcade gem worthy of attention, and it's a great choice for 2 players simultaneous gameplay. So what do you remember about In the Hunt? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't played it, let me know what looks most interesting about it. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel and click the bell below to be alerted upon the addition of new ones. Also, please join my Discord community linked in the description, and consider supporting my channel via YouTube's Join feature to receive member exclusives, such as advanced videos and complete video transcripts.